All right, how we doing there, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Remnant One, and I'm just going to continue my series here with the final prophet, the prophet Daniel. I'm just scrolling around about this prophet. He did write the book of Daniel, okay, and a little bit about rough history about him, okay, that actually Daniel was in the messianic family line, that he was a descendant of King David. Okay. Let me see here where I saw that. Let me see here. Yep, you can see that in 2 Kings, chapter 11, 1 through 3rd verse. Okay. King Nebuchadnezzar, at the time, he did siege Jerusalem, and Daniel was caught up into that, and he was sieged, and he was sent to Babylon for 70 years. Now, he was sent when he was about 15 years old, and he was very young in his ministry or in his prophecy and so forth, and he was able to live through the whole exile, and he was sent back as a very old man, and he died at about 85 years old. Okay, so I'm going to get back to this here in a minute. So just a few facts about the book of Daniel, or the prophet Daniel. Okay, not only that he was a prophet, but he was also a dream interpreter. Okay, he dreamed of the coming of one ruler. Okay, one world ruler, the desolation of the temple in Jerusalem, and he did the same thing as or the same cataclysm as Ezekiel, Isaiah, okay, and Jeremiah. All right, that if the Israelites or Judeans did not change their ways. But the most significant part of Daniel was he was a servant to the king. Okay, he did do what the king had wanted him to do, as far as in, servitude or interpreting whatever dreams if the king had and so forth. But he also kept the Most High in mind, and he did not do a lot of those Babylonian practices or eat really any of the unclean foods that the Babylonians ate. Okay, but back to my research about Daniel here. Okay, he did envision the one world ruler. Okay, he did envision a machine with 4 beasts. Okay, according to Matthew 24, chapter 15 verse, he was a righteous man, part of the royal divine family, and taken to Babylon, for 70 years, along with his friends. And I'll tell you his friends in a minute. I mentioned one of the guys that was supposed to be in Ezekiel. Okay, he had a vision of the future in chapters 7 to 12. He served in the royal palace of Babylon. Okay, and as I said before, he refused to eat impure food, stuck to the Torah. Okay, he'd written and interpreted the Bible in 2 languages, that is Aramaic and Hebrew. Okay, so part of the book of Daniel was written in Aramaic. This is chapters 1 to 7 and 8. Chapters 8 to 12 was written in Hebrew. Okay. Again, dream interpreter. Okay. The king Babylon had a dream, and he wanted Daniel to interpret what that dream was about. Okay. And he did interpret the dream. Okay. Of a stature. Okay. Represents trained, but God comes and fills trained with justice. Okay. And the king got very upset about that because he didn't hear what he wanted to hear. Okay, so this book talks about the 70-year history in Jerusalem, Gentile words, as well as in Babylon. Okay. Again, some of the interpretations that Daniel had made that king didn't like, especially that dream that the king wanted Daniel to interpret. So he was thrown off to the lion, okay, or thrown off to the fire. Okay, then he was thrown off to the lions as well. Okay, but he survived. Okay, both kings would surrender to God. King, he did humble himself to God, and you can read that in Chronicles. Okay, the older king was exiled. Okay, of the camp with boils. Okay, just so the Most High can let him see that there is a higher power. Okay. All right, and as I said before, Daniel's dream, okay, he saw a series of 4 beasts: the lion, bear, 3 horns, son of man, but the son of man destroys the beast. And the son of man, okay, you will see later on will be Jesus or Yahshua, okay. Human kingdoms had rebelled against God, but he must be patient for God to come and humble those. These are the worldly kingdoms, all right, and not just the kingdom around Israel, okay, surrounding countries around that Israel, i.e., Tyre, Asia Minor, Egypt, okay, and also Babylon and Persia, and many of the tribes around that area, okay. Okay, so it started out the ram versus goat is basically the Greece versus Russia. Okay, again, as I said, exile lasts 30 years. Persia, Greeks, and the kings come and set up pagan gods. Okay, at that temple in Jerusalem. Okay, the Assyrians also was part of that, and they had sieged Jerusalem first. Okay. And these are the dreams of Daniel, okay? The book of Daniel's purpose is to offer hope, okay, despite the present idolatry, sin of the old world, pattern, and purpose, okay? So part of this series is right now in 2020, and this is August of this year, that a lot of people have reached uncertain times, and people have to humble themselves, be patient, keep the Most High first, continue to work on themselves spiritually, and work on their craft, and also to be able to put family first and so forth. Okay, family over money and idolatry. Okay, and good things will come from that. Not just necessarily money, but spiritual health and strength. Okay, it does says in Romans 12:17, let vengeance be mine. Okay. And that being said, that God will confront the beast and will bring his own kingdom to all nations. And that's exactly what he did when the Israelites were sent back to Jerusalem 70 years later after the siege. Okay. All right. I spoke on Daniel and his friends sent to captivity. Chapter 6 is when the king threw Daniel into the lion's den, okay, but Daniel prayed to the Most High, okay, and they remained calm. Those lions never attacked him, okay, and the king got so frustrated that he threw his guards into the lion's den, and they were attacked, okay. And I think that the king has started to become more and more humble and realized that Daniel's God which is Yahweh or Elohim, is the God for real. Okay, you can see the vision of the 4 beasts. All right, Daniel, when you compared it to many and his friends, Daniel was smarter than his friends. He had more wisdom. But if you had put them in comparison to many of the Babylonian scholars or whatever, they were much more rich in spirit. Okay. Again, as I said before, The image represent four Gentile powers: Persia, Greece, Rome, and Egypt. Stone cut out with the hands, and the return to Jesus. Okay, that those countries were eventually sent into the old world, that is Israel, to pretty much to cleanse Israel, okay, from the sins and debauchery and the idolatry and so forth. And that being said, that new soft-hearted Israelites, okay, will come out of that, and Jews, that is, with a more humble king, okay. Daniel, as I said before, he did worship or refuse to worship any kinds of the Babylonian idols, okay, and again thrown into fire, okay. So and it did backfire onto the king's his men, okay. The fire killed his friends, okay. The king's guards actually, and then Daniel and his friends did live, okay. I spoke about Daniel interpreted the second dream, okay, and then the king lost his sanity, okay, his exile for camp, okay, that he had long nails, and he had grew long hair on his body and so forth. You can see that in Chronicles, all right, and he was humbled by God, okay, and God, Daniel did tell the king about there was another actually army from the north, that's Persia, was going to evade them the next day, and the king did not believe it, and lo and behold, that they were invaded the next day. King Cyrus, all right, had acknowledged Daniel's God as the true God, as said earlier, and that's why the Israelites were sent back to Babylon with a new temple and new reforms and so forth. So that's basically what we're going on right now in America. Yeah, the old way is going away, okay, but I believe that God has a new plan, so he has to send this COVID pretty much to wake everybody up, okay, and to realign everybody. It's a realignment to put a better system in place, okay. But the thing is, are they going to be able to honor that by keeping the Most High first and being thankful for what they have? Or is the Most High going to have to probably send more cataclysm? Well, he is, but this is just all a part of the America becoming more humble, okay? This is America's judgment. It is what it is. The year 2020s, the year of the judgment. Okay, let me just finish this off by saying this. Okay. He was protected despite the lion's den and the fire. He prayed 3 times a day. Okay, prayed towards Jerusalem. Okay, he spoke of again of the 4 beasts and the horn. Okay, he spoke against also what is now known as the Battle of Armageddon at the Euphrates. Did speak of Alexander the Greek. Okay, it was a man, okay, with a wreath around his head. Okay, is supposed to resemble Heru, that they would inevitably destroy the temple again because Israel was still hard-hearted. Okay, and it does speak on Daniel's 70 weeks of tribulation, and they speak about that again in the Revelations. I'll get around to do that on a different video. Okay, but the 70 weeks tribulation after 490 years, Christ's prayer for forgiveness of the Israelites' future and past transgressions. Okay, so they had to go through a tribulation for a long time before they did bring in Christ. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm going to go to some Bible study. Okay, thanks for listening.